Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and a continuing series What? Why? Where I took a look at some of the weirdest games in gaming that I absolutely love, and today we're going to be playing Vib Ribbon. And we're not just going to be talking about the game itself, we're also going to be talking about the technical feat that it pulls off on the PlayStation 1. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, that notification bell definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Vib Ribbon is a very weird and interesting game for many different reasons, and right off the top it's just how it looks. They went with a full vector graphic style presentation for this game, and it looks absolutely outstanding. It's unlike anything else on the PlayStation 1, but boy, if you're trying to sell video games on a console that's featuring 3D hardware for the first time in the home market, it's a very interesting and unique art style to choose because it probably wasn't very marketable whatsoever. But right off the top, the game teaches you what to do, and it's off to the races. But the other interesting thing about Vib Ribbon is I'm giving you the game's original soundtrack, because if I try anything else, I'm going to hit a copyright strike on YouTube. I know I am. But this entire game loads into the PlayStation 1's RAM directly, and you can take the disc out of the machine when you were playing it, and absolutely nothing bad will happen. Once this completes its initial load, it is in your RAM, and it's just going to execute from there. But what it allows you to do is put any CD in you possibly want, and it'll take the beat of the music and produce a track for you. Everything you're seeing here, all the inputs that I am controlling, if you put something like Van Halen in, you're going to get a level based upon the beats and timing of a Van Halen song. It is a very interesting and unique technical case study of being able to remove a disc from a console because everything loaded up into RAM. The secondary weird thing about this is, at least if you believe the internet, is this game was originally developed to be an advertisement tie-in to a new Mercedes Benz car, and apparently that car was cancelled and the game just ended up becoming a standalone release for the PlayStation 1. And that is probably the first time I've ever heard of anything like that in a video game. Of course, licensed games or tie-in games are quite common. You can play Cool Spot or Yo Noid all day long, but a video game based on a vector rabbit that was supposed to be for a Mercedes Benz, also just a really strange thing. But now that we've talked about some of the technical and historical background of Vib Ribbon, we kind of have to talk about the gameplay, because it is a rhythm music game and it is outstanding for what it does, and it's quite simple. You have 4 inputs and you use those 4 inputs to get through the course, or in this instance, if you get off time, to completely screw it up. Music rhythm games have never been the best genre that I am good at playing, but I've always absolutely loved them. Things like Parappa the Rapper or retrogamer Lammy, and consequently made by the same developers that made Vib Ribbon. I always loved them growing up, and I still do, but even on my best day I'm only decent at them. But I've always been intrigued by the genre. The better you do, you stay as a rabbit. You can even do so well that you get a rabbit with a crown and a cape. But if you make too many mistakes, you start to devolve into different creatures until you completely lose the level in and of itself. And there's only 3 settings in this game: easy, normal, and hard. And even if you put your own disc in, you can make an easy, normal, and hard course out of it. The game, from start to finish, if you're good at it, only takes like 6 to 7 minutes to beat. But putting in different discs and seeing what sort of levels are created from your favorite music, or honestly music that's kind of hilarious, is a really good time. But it's a hard game. Once that music starts going quick, you'll see I make some mistakes and I end up as a frog. But this game, the soundtrack that's built into it is outstanding as well, and in a few moments I'm going to try to let you listen to some of it. I'm really hoping it's not going to throw a copyright claim up, so I may have to come back and just kind of talk over the game itself, but we'll see how that goes. But honestly, just listen to the music, watch the visuals, and kind of get the overall sense of everything going on, and if this goes well, I'll be back in like 45 seconds. So you either got to hear the soundtrack or you heard me talk about something random to fill those 45 seconds, but I really hope you did. And honestly, I will say that Vib Ribbon is probably best played when you're actually using the music designed for the game, because while putting in your own CD is both a technical marvel and also fun to hear your own music, the music they developed for this game is outstanding as well. If you never heard the Go Team, maybe look them up after you watch this video, because a lot of the music in this game reminds me of that, and I just remember it because I used it for a ski film many years ago. But you'll see now that as we're getting further into the game, I've made a few mistakes and I've devolved into this frog character, and from there, if you make more mistakes, you're going to turn into what looks like a worm with a TV for a head. But I can't talk enough good about the vector style graphics. So obviously, this is not on a vector monitor, so you lose that vector sort of monitor look, but all of the wireframe vector style art just works perfect for this game because it's both unique and visually extremely interesting, but also not so distracting that you don't pay attention to the timing, because when these songs start going quicker or the screen starts to pivot, dealing with the timing becomes your entire focus. And if you're like me and you start getting off the beat, getting back onto it can be very difficult. When I start making mistakes, boy, I make a lot of them all at once. But the best part about this game is it doesn't require me to cut much in editing, and that's just because it's always visually interesting. It's almost like Res, except as opposed to being a pseudo shmup, it is a full-on rhythm game. And it's a bummer that we don't get more games like this. I mean, this would look amazing too if they re-released it in VR, something like Oculus Quest. If you had this game on there and you could kind of turn your head to see the world with headphones in, I would absolutely love that. And this is the type of game too where if you have headphones available to you, you definitely want to use them, because once you hear that music bumping into your ears versus just on speakers, it works a lot better. But like I said, once you start screwing up, boy, you really screw up a lot. Or maybe that's just me. I don't really have a lot of rhythm. I've got no musical ability whatsoever, so it might be that I'm just kind of terrible at these games. But that's how you know that they're good, because even though I'm not great at them, I still enjoy playing them time and time again. This type of thing that if you have a friend over and they've never seen it before and they're even remotely into music, definitely show it to them, because they probably would really enjoy it. But why is it on what? Why? Because all of these games, Parappa the Rapper, Retrogamer, Lammy, and Vib Ribbon, it just surprises me that that was such a big genre of video games back in the day. Even stuff with Sega like Space Channel 5, these were a big hit, and then they kind of just seem to fade into obscurity. Of course, you have stuff like Beat Saber on a VR, and they're kind of making a comeback, and they're making a comeback into the VR realm, and it's just kind of fun to see these back again. But if you were in a business meeting pitching this idea, we're going to make a music rhythm game on the PlayStation 1 that's supposed to be a tie-in for a Mercedes Benz car that's going to use vector graphics, not the standard polygons that you're used to seeing on PlayStation 1, and it's going to involve a rabbit, and you can take the disc out of the machine. I would have been sitting there being like, oh, I hope it works out for you, good luck. And you will see here, and the game doesn't teach you either, you need to learn this on your own, that at a certain point in the hard area, you need to start combining more than one input together to be able to get around these. It doesn't teach it to you, but you kind of realize based upon the pattern what it is that you need to be doing. But when it starts moving quick and you're trying to hit two inputs at the same time, it becomes a real brain teaser as to get through it. If you see the end of the hard stage, you're definitely going to feel like you accomplished something, because this game is not easy whatsoever to see. And like I said, if you didn't get a chance to hear some of that soundtrack when I was playing it for you, if I had to talk over it, do me that favor and go and listen to it after the fact, because it's spectacular. But I love when you do a good job here. Vib gets his crown and these angel wings, or it could be a cape, it really is hard to say. This is just a special game. It's the type of game they don't make very often anymore, and it feels like half art and half video game all rolled into one. But the fact that it was supposed to be for a Mercedes car, and the fact that it's one of the few PlayStation 1 games you can just take the disc out completely, means it's on what why. And let me tell you, when this game starts moving quick and starts throwing inputs together, you can see that everything starts falling apart for me completely. But leave me a comment down below. Have you ever played Vib Ribbon? What CDs would you put in? If you had one chance to play this game and only one CD to put in from your favorite artist, tell me who it is below, because I'd be really curious to hear what you guys would pick versus me. But yeah, this is one of those special games that could only come from the PlayStation 1 area. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.